Welcome back to the foundry, I guess. I'm about to embark on something I've been putting off since I bought this truck, but I just can't take it anymore. What you're looking at is what's known in the industry as an abomination. Some might call it a biohazard. One might even suggest a travesty of nature. It is the F-550 interior. So there's a few small things that need to be addressed and repaired. We're going to need some cruise control switches. The brake pedal pad, looks like we're missing a knob right there. This is dangling for some reason. It does work. All the electric windows, power windows on this truck work. Neither dome light works. And then this here. So I'm going to look and see if I can find a cushion and cover like I did on the rammer. But before I do any of that, the first order of business is to clean this thing. I'm not going to be in there wallering around in squalor. I mean, there's a half a yard of dirt on the floor pan. There's 20 years of DNA on the steering wheel. There's an inch of dust on the whole dashboard. All of that needs to be cleaned. The primary culprit is the seats. Now, if I go with a new pad here, I won't have to get this too clean, but the front seats aren't the worst I've ever seen. I can probably clean these in the truck, but this back one, I've never seen anything like this. This is the worst seat. And I'm tempted to just pull the seat out altogether and pressure wash it. I don't like pressure washing cloth seats, but it does seem to work. The problem is it's the wrong time of year to try to do that. If I pull it out and pressure wash it, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get it dry. There's just not enough sunlight to leave it out in to get that foam dry again. So I'm going to make an attempt to clean it in the truck. And if I have to pull it, I can do it later this spring. One good thing, though, is the carpet. Believe it or not, as disgusting as all this looks, underneath is pretty good clean carpet. And I can only assume that's the case because when they bought this truck new, they must have immediately put these mats in here, because the carpet under these mats, even under the driver one, now it needs to be vacuumed and shampooed, especially the spots, of course, that were exposed outside of the mats. But that's a huge win, because I was really not looking forward to pulling the whole carpet out of this truck. I would have had to pull all the seats out. And the reason, and I don't mind doing that if it's necessary, but there's a couple of things. One, as soon as I gut this interior, see, I use this truck on a regular basis. I have a very specific purpose for it, for jobs. And as soon as I gut that interior, I guarantee you I'll get a call and I'll have to put it to work. And so I don't want the truck to be down any longer than it has to be. I certainly don't want to miss a opportunity there. Second thing, this truck is not a show pony. It's a work truck. It's never going to be a show pony. And so I'm just going to get it to where I don't feel disgusting when I get out of this thing. So I'm just going to give it a good deep clean, fix the little things we talked about addressing, and probably call it good. So how did this interior get so bad? Well, if you know anything about me by my other videos, you know that this never would have happened on my watch. So it goes without saying it was like this when I bought it, and I just haven't had time to deal with it. But it was previously owned by a hydroblasting company, and it was one of their crew trucks, and they worked in oil refineries and apparently in asphalt units, because there's just oil and asphalt all over everything. And apparently, if you're on one of those crews, I don't know if it's a hoople thing or what, but it's kind of mandatory that you paw everything and touch everything. And, you know, so there's fingerprints all over the headliner. It's even on the pillars, just paw prints. It's like, okay, I worked in an asphalt unit. Let's get back in the truck and just touch everything. Let's just touch everything. I don't understand it. There's handprints in places. Who touches there? Like, ever? It's It's insane. All right, making progress. So I spared you the vacuuming and scrubbing and all that just because it's not really interesting to watch a vacuum cleaner work. But making progress. The carpet is really the big score here. It cleaned up really good. The seats, so. I sprayed them down with Tough Stuff. I scrubbed on them with a brush and shop vac the heck out of them. And they're definitely better than they were. This rear one was real bad, and it's cleaned up. It's cleaned up a little bit. Really needs to be taken out and heavily shampooed and everything. It's just kind of the wrong time of year to do that. Plus, this is a work truck. It's not a show pony. My policy is if I make something too nice, I tend to not want to use it, and I'm using the heck out of this truck. Rear carpet, very clean, considering. So next, the dashboard. Let me get you over to the other side. So the dash cleaned up pretty well. You saw what it looked like before, lots of dust. Same thing for the floor over here. So now that I don't feel just thoroughly disgusting being in this truck, I'm going to go ahead and start in with the trinkets. We're going to get some buttons and knobs, and I need to get the rear view mirror back up there because I can't tell you how many times I've looked up there looking for it, and it just throws off your equilibrium. For the mirror, I'm going to try this kit from Permatex. It comes with, let's see here. Looks like the kit comes with everything I need. Well, I hope this is in the right spot. I couldn't see where the mirror was mounted previously. There was absolutely no sign of it on the windshield. And I'm letting the adhesive cure right now. I've been holding it so long, I think my finger is distorted. Now let's replace those cruise control buttons. I cleaned the steering wheel up as best as I could, but there's some kind of coating on it. Normally you can spray it with Tough Stuff and the funk just melts right off of it. But this has got something on it. I don't know what it is, so I'm probably just going to have to let that ride for now. You'll see it. So here's what we're faced with. Don't ask me how this happens. I'm going to start by removing the fuse for the airbag just to minimize the risk of getting punched in the face. With the bolts out, you should be able to grab this pad. Ooh, it seems like I should have pulled the fuse for the horn. Danger, poison. I'm just going to carefully set this over here. Presumably, you can just pull, you just pull these switches out like so. While my buttons are out, I'm just going to clean the button area from all the 20 some odd years of hair and DNA that has accumulated. I'm going to try to do it one-handed while holding a camera. We can wager whether or not I'm going to break the new switch in the process. There we go. There it is. Okay. Now it's a matter of routing the wires correctly and plugging it back in. That was quick and easy. So now I think I'm going to do something about this inhospitable gear shifter. And I have the answer right here. Done. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna leave this right here. Oh yeah. Now that I've got new buttons, a new cap for the shifter, new knob, that'll greatly improve the driving experience of this truck. But I'm not stopping there. Next, this seat. I've really been dreading this. Unlike Rammer, where we were just able to remove the seat base with 4 bolts and the foam and everything just come out and it was real easy, Ford, in their infinite wisdom, decided to make it to where you can't do that. You have to remove the entire seat, then you have to disassemble the entire seat. The back has to come off, the lumbar cable has to be removed, all of this has to be removed. So I'm just I'm just not looking forward to it. seat. Well, I guess I didn't get it as clean as I thought I did. Under the seat there was some degrees, some type of paraphernalia. Oh, I could be the Marlboro man. Just trash. I have to get the shop vac and clean this up. So another thing I'm going to have to address is the wiring. So I talked to the previous owner and he said this truck didn't actually come with power seats. He put them in here, and so he had to wire them in. And this wire comes from under the dash, a random key-on power source. I like for the seats to be powered all the time. That way, you know, if a short person's been driving it, before I can get in it, I've got to move the seat back so I can just reach down here and do that when they got power on them. And then of course this one goes over this daisy chain to the other seat, which for some reason does not work. Also, I noticed this truck has a parasitic draw on the battery, and I've been pulling my hair out trying to find what it is. It's intermittent. It doesn't do it all the time. So one thing I did was I unhooked the seat, both seats. I got mine where I wanted it and got that one in a good position. I unhooked the seats, and supposedly my draw went away because it has not done it since. So I'm going to have to see where they have tied in for the power. Being how it's on a key-on circuit, unless they use some kind of relay, that circuit is not going to have, it's not going to be able to safely provide enough amps to operate the motors on this seat. So I'm very curious how that's wired in, so I'll look into that. So while I've got it out, I thought I'd do a little testing. So I have it wired up correctly, and now everything works as it should. Before it was 180 out, like you'd push a switch to go forward and the seat would go backward, and vice versa. Well, now it's working correctly, and it sounds a lot healthier because I think it's getting the correct amount of voltage. Ooh. Okay, are we halfway there yet? For Pete's sake. All to replace a cover, give me a break. We still got to get the pan off the track. Are we there yet? Oh, yeah, and we got another electrical connector. What is going on? The seats weren't even heated, for Pete's sake. All right, look at all that filth. Look at that. I cleaned all this up. I bet these seats are going to weigh 40 less pounds. They make this seat pan so sharp. Just FYI, if you ever subject yourself to this type of punishment like I tend to do frequently, they make this seat pan so sharp it will cut you square straight to the bone and give you tetanus in the process. Ow! I bet the same engineer that designed the bench seat in my Gen 10, go back and watch that video, I bet he's the one responsible for this. If I just had to guess. You'll see that, let's see, it's this side here. All these holes for the accessories don't come with the new cover. I actually have to cut those holes, and I want to use this one for a template. But it's just so abominable. I think I'm just gonna wing it. This is almost the exact same type of Does this plastic go on top or bottom? That one's on the bottom. Anyway, this pan is almost exactly like the one we did in Rammer. It's got the rod with the wires, the springs. This one is in good shape. I don't see anything broken with it. The rod hasn't worked itself out. The plastic tubing for that rod, that's kind of an anti-squeak, so when you sit in it, it doesn't make a lot of noise. That's all in good shape, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna, man, my workbench has gotten dirty. I'm gonna clean this so when I bring my new cover and foam out, I don't get it filthy putting it together. New foam, new cover. So this is a fairly inexpensive cover. The first one I bought was really expensive. It was made in the USA, super high quality, and of course it was wrong. And I would have went back with another one of those with the correct cover, but they didn't want to do business with me. So when I placed my initial order, after it shipped, I got this message. They're like, can you send me a picture of your seat just to make sure we got the pattern right? And I'm thinking, well, I don't really care about the pattern as long as everything's the right color. It's a work truck, who cares? But yeah, I'll see. So I sent them a picture of the seat and they're like, oh, that's not gonna work. Yours is a crew cab, you ordered extended cab. Didn't know there was a difference. That's my fault. And they said, send us the cover back as soon as you get it and we'll take care of it. Okay, so I did just that. I didn't even unpackage it, sent it in, and I said, so, you know, I need one for a crew cab. I'll pay the difference if there's a difference on the price. And they're like, oh, we don't have one. Sorry, goodbye. And I looked on their website. They got a whole slew of them. They weren't out of stock. So they just didn't want to mess with me, I guess because I ordered the wrong cover the first time. Again, there's an infinite number of covers, patterns, foams. It's insane. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that someone might accidentally order the wrong one. So anyway, I said to heck with all that. It was too much money anyway. It's a work truck. I'm the only one that drives it. Hooples are not allowed to operate my equipment. I'm easy on seats. I don't tear them up, so I know, you know, this should last. So this was all about half the price of what I originally paid for the first set. I had to send the foam back too. It was wrong. So supposed to install this with hog rings. I do not have hog rings. I don't have hog ring pliers. So I'm going to do what any reasonable, clear thinking redneck would do, and I'm going to use zip ties. So if you are going to use zip ties, the one thing I'll say is you want to use a high quality zip tie. These are Thomas Betts, made in America. They actually have, it'll probably be impossible to focus on, but there is a steel, oh bless us, there's a steel lock in there. That's metal, that's not plastic. These are high quality. You don't want to use like Harbor Freight zip ties or something that will release over time, because then your cover is going to get loose. Once all my ties are in place, and I position them to where the head of the lock head is to the outside, so they're easily accessible as you're applying the cover. And also, you want to clock them. Once you get that cover on there, you want to spin those to where nothing's going to be poking up. You don't want it to wear through the cover or poke your buttocks. And after your ties are thread through, you just tighten them up. And I'm going to set this camera down. You don't want to do it one-handed because you don't want to pull the rod up out of the foam and ruin it. So you want to hold down here with one finger, tighten up your zip tie, and I'll show you the finished result. All right, I managed to get the new cover on without losing a digit on that sharp edge all the way around this thing, but pretty much just had to put the weight of my person on the seat frame to compress the foam enough to get all these to snap on. All right, let's turn it over and see what it looks like. Not too bad. Not too bad. These wrinkles will work their way out. All right, I got the seat reassembled. That was a task. And got the wiring on the truck corrected. And now, bloop. Seat works great. Up, down, all around. And I haven't bolted it in yet and sat on the new cushion to see how that's going to feel, but I got to check the wiring on the other side and bolt it down, and I think we're good to go. All right, I'm going to try to finish this one up while I still got a little bit of daylight. I am so glad I got done with that interior project. I've been putting that off for months. So I didn't go full bore into it. I didn't go all out restoration mode. I just gave it a good thorough cleaning. The carpet, the seats, obviously replaced the seat pad and cover. As you can see, the door panels are stained. There's asphalt, and that stuff's just never coming off. It's a work truck. I'm not going to go crazy with it. We did cruise control buttons. Got our shifter cap, our knobs, and I put a new brake pedal cover on it. And oh, you might notice I've got dome lights now. Fixed those. Power seats work good. I've got this one set exactly where I want it, so I'm not going to move it all around to show you, but got the back pretty well organized with all the stuff I need for making deliveries and strapping down loads and whatnot. The stuff I don't carry on in the underbody boxes. Again, I mean, there's things I could still do to it, like I could fix the courtesy lights. It's really not a big deal for me for what I'm using this truck for. This is not a show pony. I just wanted it clean to where I didn't feel disgusting when I was in it, due to all the years of funk and dirt. You know, the dash is nice and clean now. The cluster cleaned up amazing. So overall, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I got a rear view mirror now. That's you don't know how nice that is until you don't have one for a while. All right, boys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Hope you enjoy truck content. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.